three. What's really going on, everyone? Back again with another episode, season 3, episode 14, our season finale. Before we get into all the latest news and everything else in politics and entertainment, be sure to follow us on all of our social media accounts. That includes Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at WRGO Pod. Be sure to like, listen, subscribe to all of our content on all of our streaming platforms. That includes YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and maybe Amazon by the time we finish this, if I can get my
Why are
stuff
you
together.
sounding like that's a question? You can stream us on all platforms.
All platforms. So that's Henry. How are you doing?
Podcast platforms.
Mackenzie, how are you doing? Since Henry didn't want to answer me.
I'm doing good. Happy to be here. Oh my gosh. Well, how I'm doing, I'm okay. But there was so much fog today. Yesterday, there wasn't a lot of smoke. But today it actually was like when I was going home. So I'm doing
for the first time today, I actually felt it because I went to the store. So I've been outside and I don't have a car right now. So I've been outside a lot and it's pretty bad in DC. It's not as bad as New York, but I was kind of like, ooh, it was like, I don't know if
it was bad in Chicago yesterday.
Chicago was bad because yesterday, like I said, in New York, it really wasn't that bad. Like it wasn't bad at all.
It wasn't like Gotham like it was like 3 weeks ago in New York.
No, it was not like that. But today it was. Well, it wasn't as bad, but it was still like you can definitely tell.
Do y'all know exactly what's going on?
It's a fire in Canada, like a wildfire.
It's a wildfire.
I guess in my head, I'm thinking like, I'm going to sound a little ignorant, but we can't just put that out. Like, what's going on?
Well, normally this stuff happens in California because they always have wildfires. It's just really out of the ordinary that it's on the East Coast. That's the biggest thing.
So for us, it's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Well, what else is going on? Well, today on Thursday, June 29th, the Supreme Court has once again wilded out again. So today on Thursday, the Supreme Court struck down affirmative action programs at the University of North Carolina and Harvard in a major victory for conservative activists, ending the process of systematic consideration of race in the admissions process. The court ruled that the programs violated the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution. We are not lawyers. The vote was 6-3 in the UNC case and 6-2 in the Harvard case, with Ketanji Brown Jackson recusing herself because she went to Harvard, so she recused herself for that reason. Overall thoughts, Mackenzie, I think you had an interesting take in terms of how this might steer people to HBCUs, but what's your overall thought, opinion on all of this?
I mean, it's just like what I'll say about HBCUs. The first thought, I was just kind of like, obviously disappointed. Affirmative action supports all people, all Black and brown individuals. Like I believe that, and it trickles down to corporate America and how far we can go in certain rooms in certain industries. But I do also feel that like these institutions were not made to support us from the beginning. And now it's kind of reiterating what they were already built on. Why am I going to go to that institution? And it's interesting like that this is all happening right after Nicole Hannah-Jones moved away from UNC. And even with that, like if you know her history with the 1619 project, my bad. To me, I just didn't understand why not take your talents to a Black school where it's always been an institution that's built for your people, educating your people, and you should be wanting to share your knowledge and build community with your people. And I just feel so strongly about that. And just, I mean, all of us went to Howard and we have a unique experience, but I just don't really like, I feel like it'll be an uptick in HBCU applications, but I do want to talk about also like what that really means, meaning like the trickle down effect too.
That's where it becomes a problem though, because like going to a HBCU benefits us as a Black person, but when we real time talk about access to wealth, access to, let's just say, elitism in America, that's what this really affects. Like you said, it does trickle down to our jobs. So let's say like we're only going to HBCUs and these top tier firms stop coming to HBCUs because they don't necessarily have to have a requirement or to fit like that. What is it? you have that quota.
that quota.
Yeah, the quota.
Right.
I want to say something though, like it's not even just the quota. And the thing about it is like when you have a lot of the reasons why schools like Morehouse, Spelman, and Howard have so much of the, I guess, corporate support and like attention and stuff is because also a lot of us go on to post-grad programs that are at these elite institutions and we're sitting at the table. So they already have that familiarity with somebody who went to the school. Like for example, like that polo campaign that was with Morehouse and Spelman, people were having issues with that, but not to say he went to post grad. I don't know if he did that, but the person who put on that campaign went to Morehouse. So when you have that connection to that HBCU or that culture, then you'll be able to have diversity within your corporation. But if you don't have those people, even at the seats at the table, at the Harvards, at the UNCs, making those connections, they're not going to be there in corporate America.
Yeah, and I think I've been thinking about this like a lot today, and I think at first I was like, well, this will have, we can talk about this too, like this will have trickle down effects on like a lot of different issues in terms of like social impact, because obviously if this is not a thing, then it's going to be harder for there to be more Black dentists, Black lawyers, Black doctors. All of that does have a trickle down effect. That sounds like hyperbolic, but like if it's harder for people to get into the entry point, then it's going to be harder for them to matriculate to those other things. And also I think people are always focusing on like, well, it's these elite institutions, and it's like, yeah, UNC is a really good school, but it's a state university. So what's stopping the University of Wisconsin from just doing this? What's stopping like your local state school from also just applying that same thing of like, well, we don't have to do this anymore? So it's not just going to be the fact that like Harvard and Yale, these places are going to have less Black students. It might just be the local four-year school down the way. And that to me is a more concerning thing, because then it's like, yes, if Harvard's doing it, but if, University of Albany is not doing it, that's concerning, because then it's like, that's how you really create more generational wealth, by just more people having the ability to go to school, not necessarily going to Harvard or going to these top tier programs or all that. But like, if the base level is now lower, what does that mean? And I think that's something that I haven't gotten a good explanation on, of like, what does this mean for like the average person who, might not have had the best grades, and that's through no fault of their own. What does that mean now? So I think that's the thing that I don't know. And I think the question I want to ask to you all, because in the past year, the court has obviously dismantled the right to an abortion, and now this, what's next? Because I can't think of like the thing that they're going to like try to champion next. Mackenzie, I think you had said interracial marriage. I think that's not like I don't think that's insane. I don't think that's insane though.
Could have kept that in the group chat.
No, because
I mean, it's just
but that's real. That's real though. I don't think that's insane.
Yeah.
I don't think that's insane.
I think that they would be, and then like, yeah, I think everything is on the table. And I know everyone is talking about voting and the power of voting. I obviously support voting, but this is like becoming
this is unprecedented. This is unprecedented. Yeah, this is
unprecedented. This is like, it's really not gonna, even if we do vote for whoever is in favor of whoever you're in favor for in the next election, that doesn't necessarily guarantee that all of this stuff will roll back. So it's just like
this is like a 50-year thing now. Like this just kind of is what it is. So I think, and Henry, I'd be curious of your thoughts, but I think it's a little bit dismissive at times. I think, yes, this does have impacts, given that Trump did appoint 3 of the 6 judges who voted in favor. That's real. That is a real consequence of Hillary Clinton not being president. And that is something that we will have to live with for the rest of our lives. But I do think there is a disingenuous point where it's like we're blaming the people and not actually the actors who are making the decisions that are bullshit. But curious your thoughts.
I mean, well, for me, that's like kind of it. I feel like are reacting to things that we've been kind of like spewing for the past since Trump has been around, of voting matters, and like whether we take it serious or not, we are seeing the effects of it. And kind of like what y'all were saying, these are generational effects. So regardless of what we do, but not regardless, because like if we kind of paid attention to like our judicial appointments, and try to ensure that our representatives are more in our favor. I think our kids will see a benefit from it, but us is not going to be like a direct turnaround. And I would say for me, it's kind of not scary, but existing in a world where like the powers that may be can use this in their favor, and like decide to not have certain policies or just, I would say, set expectation of like what we are willing to like consider when it comes to applicants, whether that's school, job, whatever, that becomes a question, because we already struggle with like pay gaps. We struggle again with access, whether that is to get admitted to a schooling program or whatever the case may be. I guess I'm curious to see how it will play out, like you said, to like average people, because let's say public funding is involved in this conversation. Do those policies now change to where, like in we talked about this a couple months ago on a podcast where like in North Carolina, they got fined or something for having too many applicants. So like, what's the barrier there, or what's the metric?
Mackenzie,
So,
one thing I wanted to ask you, sorry to cut you off, I didn't mean to do that. One thing I wanted to ask you, do you think Biden should talk about reforming the Supreme Court? Because he talked about it a little bit today, but he didn't talk about that.
Yes, this is, I feel like if you're a Democrat running for president, yes, because it's just like, these are major things. These aren't just like little policies. These, like we just said, these are 50 years. And I know like I don't want to say that like be, negative or whatever when Henry said like our kids, but it's still no guarantee the way things are happening that our kids won't be victims of this. And it's not to come at your point. It's really not. But it's just kind of like some of this stuff, I feel like, to answer your question, yes, you have to address it because these are changes that are going to affect our kids. If someone doesn't stop right now, like this minute, because tomorrow they could roll back interracial marriage. Tomorrow they could roll back something else. Like,
well, that become like with these grandiose ideas about such as student loan forgiveness
we might as well
and reform. He can like pronounce these ideas and want to put them into place, but we clearly see there's like a structure that blocks it. So who's going to champion that idea when a Republican is in office or they have the greater votes?
I mean, the funny thing is,
go ahead.
No, the funny thing is, I'm with you, Mackenzie. If I were Biden, I would actually probably like go at them like aggressively and just paint the war. No, but I think it's first off, it's setting the expectation that like this is like you have to at a certain point scream from the rooftop, like this is bullshit. And the court has this like grandiose appeal of we don't see politics. And he just needs to be like, yo, this is bullshit. They're throwing away all this stuff because they know they can, because it's the first time they've done it. I don't think this is right. And now I think talking about it, because one, Supreme Court justices don't do interviews. That's like the one thing that they're not public. Once they get elected or once they get appointed.
Yeah, everything always leaks.
Yeah, it's they just kind of hide. So I think at a certain point, I think because one, the Supreme Court's not really going to go back at you, I think you have to just attack their legitimacy and be like, this is all really, really political. And they're doing all these things on voting rights, and you'd win that battle. Because I think even the average person would say most Americans actually don't believe that the Supreme Court should have overturned Roe. The affirmative action stuff is a little bit trickier.
I would not disagree with that. We just said like in the last 2 years, they've overturned 2 major, like, I guess, landmark cases that kind of balance the scale for others, whether that's a woman or a minority. So that, I guess that's what I'm saying. Him screaming at the top of his lungs off the billboards or whatever you said. What it like
to me,
they're private people. They're not changing their mind.
It also covers him. It also covers him.
It shouldn't be him. It should be our representatives who actually can.
They can't do anything. They can't do anything about that.
They can't make a referendum
I
or
mean, they
whatever.
gonna put out their little notepad PR statement. Like, no, this is craziness.
It's war.
And
It's war now.
I say it specifically for Biden, though, specifically for him, because he's running for re-election. Like, this is the hot topic that you have to talk about. You would be remiss in debate season to not talk about it. And I'm like, would something change if him saying something? I don't know. But when I see something wrong going on that I'm not okay with personally, I want to go on record publicly and say, I do not support this. I need to think about my legacy and my
he said that in that little clip, but he stuttered in.
Okay, don't do the stutter. You know, he got it.
But he needs to go.
He's about 80. He needs to not run for re-election. He should be somebody's successor.
But to Mackenzie's point, he needs to go further, because at a certain point, he needs to have like the mindset of like, my neighbor is now fucking in my yard. Like, they're messing up my stuff. Like, student loans is going to impact me. I don't want to be the president who's going to be known as the one, because think about it. They're not in the history books. They're not going to talk about, oh, the Supreme Court did this. It happened on when? Biden's watch. Like, that's a legacy altering thing to be like, yeah, Roe v. Wade got overturned when I was in office. That's not a good, I don't want that. So
I mean, I hear that, but in real time, can he go get it overturned or no?
It's not. But to Mackenzie's point, it's not about that. It's just about at some point you have.
What is it about?
It's about my legacy and who
it's about the messaging. It's about the messaging. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go down without swinging.
I'm just making it clear that I don't support this, but I'm not doing anything in real time to like.
I mean, he should still be, but it's like,
that's what I'm saying. He should be rallying the troops to get people that like.
I mean,
but that includes speaking out.
Speaking out, but also with the Supreme Court, what can he do? Like, I don't know.
Well, that's what I want to ask our little political expert on the podcast here. Who had like, because from my understanding, the people that are putting laws and stuff into place are in the Senate and House, correct?
Yes, there are a couple things he can do. First, I think on the Roe v. Wade stuff, he has to make it clear, like, hey, Congress can fix this, but we need a Democratic House and we need a Democratic Senate that will like fix that. That's okay. But that's also unrealistic. But the Supreme Court problem. But the Supreme Court problem is just not going away. Like the House and the Senate could pass that bill, and the Supreme Court could just say, we just ruled on this. This is unconstitutional. Then what? So I think it's also like,
isn't that the point of our whole buy whatever system?
I think yes, but then I think he needs to make the argument that at this point the Supreme Court is not like doing just checks and balances. They're now like throwing strikes. Like they're like now a player in the game when they shouldn't be.
The one to introduce some type of
So basically, this is a long play. If I were Biden, I would openly start talking about adding seats to the court. I think you could make the pretty good argument and say like, okay, hey, the Supreme Court has gone super left. And also historically, it hasn't always been 9 judges. It used to be 5, then it was 7, then it was 9. So like, desperate time. Yeah. So I'm going to start pushing for changes, and it might not happen on my watch, but guess what? I'm gonna get the ball rolling. Like it might happen.
I think about speaking out. That's what I think about speaking out. Even planting the seed.
So y'all just want him planting seeds. Announce
because it might. I mean, it'll either happen in 20 years or never. But I would rather him try. Somebody's got to start. Somebody's got to kick that can. Yeah. Why not you?
And I feel like I look at it just like, if your house is on fire, Henry, I'm not about to just go in my room and be like, damn, I call the cops.
I mean some people would do that.
Like, I'm gonna say, listen, I made sure you tried to get out.
That's what I was about to say. It's something.
Did you get out the apartment? I don't know, but I know that I contacted you and made it clear that
you're just gonna make a phone call. You're not gonna.
No, but I feel like you trying to say, well, like him saying, like not doing anything. It's kind of like, well, I mean, I could just call the cops and sit in my room and watch my TV show and keep going.
That's what calling from the top of your lungs. That's what he did.
I don't see it that way.
I don't either.
He spoke about it today. He said that he wasn't for this. He said that
that's not enough.
It needs to be screaming and shouting.
I'm asking you, it just happened. It happened less than 24 hours ago.
No, I'm just saying.
I would have said in general, we need to add seats because they're wilding out. Like they're doing whatever. Like we'll move on, but I think there's a general, and as we pivot to the next topic, which is student loans. So the Supreme Court is set to release a decision on President Biden's student loan forgiveness plan. Many advocates are concerned, I'm sure we all are too, that they will strike down his plan. Regardless of the decision, borrowers have to be ready for the 3-year pause to end, with payments restarting in October. Morgan Stanley did a poll that said that 34% of respondents report they won't be able to make their payments. I think that also goes along to the point that we were talking about of, if they're going to, this is his main thing for people of our age who are going to be voting. And if the Supreme Court screws him out of this and he loses, you can't separate these two.
Well, that's their plan. We know they're gunning for a Republican.
So swing, to Mackenzie's point, swing back.
Yay or nay to the student loans. Let's take bets.
What do you mean?
Everybody's a no.
We are.
Everyone's
we're talking about affirmative action, Mackenzie. I would assume student loans benefit people.
Mackenzie, they don't even want us to enroll in college. You think they're gonna help us pay for it on the back end? Oh, Lord.
The only reason I definitely agree. I just want to throw something out there. The only reason difference, I feel like sometimes, maybe Biden also hasn't gone as hard because maybe he's banking on something. Maybe it could be something from left field that they do and agree with. I'm not that high, but just a thought.
I see your point, because Biden has done this in the past where people have called him to do stuff and he's kind of just wait, I'm kind of playing the long game. But there is no long game.
Okay, I was about to say, what is the long game?
There is no long game.
What is the long game?
Justified in the midnight hour.
Power in office for real, bro. The courts are not ruling in his favor. I don't know the control of Congress, however, but they haven't been doing anything beneficial.
So when are they gonna announce it?
Probably within their session ends in sometime this summer, so it'll come soon.
Yeah, they do. All the rulings come out in the summer.
In the summertime, so it'll be soon.
By fall. They probably gonna tell us in September,
a week
before Labor Day, because
right when school about to start.
Labor Day ends ends the summer, right?
BT dubs, y'all gotta pay this back, and low key, some of y'all gotta pay it back in full. They probably hit y'all with some craziness. Actually, payment starts.
Okay, tomorrow. I am one of. So my friend told me he not paying it back. He said they gonna figure. it out.
That sounds cute. That sounds cute.
IRS and
I think people are okay. This is my PSA. Everyone, you owe the federal government money. They're gonna want their shit. I'm not gonna pay. All right, they're gonna send you a picture of Fat Joe and it's just gonna say price went up. Okay,
what are we just gonna start garnishing your paychecks? Don't even.
Or not even that, or just all of a sudden when tax season comes around, that refund you think you got.
Yeah,
we got that.
Happen to a lot of people.
We're gonna hold that.
Child support, when the
they can garnish your stuff. Yeah,
they're gonna get your money. Period.
Well, man,
so it's all bad, but that all goes to the point. I think this conversation about student loans, I think, even supports Mackenzie's point even more, because like I said, if Biden doesn't get this done, Henry, imagine what the barbershops are going to be saying, because that plays a part.
Don't care.
Who doesn't care?
I just said the N word. I apologize. Excuse my friend.
Who doesn't care?
Nonetheless, I feel like black hood dudes that's getting money, they slick be trying to be Republican because they think they
it's not just them dudes getting money. It'd be a lot of black men.
It'd be the people getting money too.
Black men, y'all are questionable.
That's sad to say, but a lot of them do slick be conservative because, for me, they feel like they've grown up and outgrew this mentality of mindset of doing dumb stuff, I guess. No, I don't disagree. Some of us do be on some wild stuff and we're getting away from the point a little bit. But I feel like there's a lot of black male conservatives, man.
That's a fact. When I was interning one summer at the Chicago Defender, and
black-owned newspaper.
Right. And then we had the chance to go to the Republican National Convention, cover it for news. The first person we interviewed on the street was a black man, and he was voting for Trump. super happy. He supports businesses, small businesses, and he had a small business and he loved it. It's still on my Facebook page.
That's what I be saying. So like to your point of the barbershop conversation, that's not, they don't like,
or rather, I think that is indicative because it's a matter of what we always talk about, like what we know as people who are like watching this and doing a podcast about this versus like what the average person is going to see. They're going to be like, oh, that student loan joint ain't go through. Oh, that's Biden's fault.
That's
how people are going to talk about, like,
They're
that's a
gonna
problem. That is a problem.
They're going to just blame him, not understand the intricacy of it all. And then, oh yeah, I'm not voting. They probably don't. And that'd be my thing.
But even then,
Don't do that.
my fear
They
is
don't
that,
be voting, bro. They
but my
don't.
But my fear is that even the person they don't have to be like, some person who's hood. It can just be a person who's not as up to date on politics. Like half the country doesn't vote. That includes people with bachelor's degrees too. So my fear is that also people are just going to be like, oh, Biden ain't get this done. And now he ain't doing nothing for me. Like that's actually a problem. And that's probably why I think the administration should actually like attack this. I would agree.
If you were to do a poll across the United States of America, regardless of if you're in the hood, suburbs, wherever, and you would say, or ask these people, what has Biden done for you during his presidency? Nothing.
Let me ask you, Henry, what has Biden done for you during his presidency?
Well, I just told you, like, I just told you. And I'm a person that's halfway in tune to it.
Honestly, I be forgetting he president. He just like, I just really be forgetting.
He there.
It's one podcast y'all said, yeah, he's been president for like 2 years. I was like, it's been 2 years.
Bro, he's running for re-election.
Yeah,
next year. We have to go to the polls.
Yeah.
We'll work
so
that
like
out.
That if we're all three saying he didn't do nothing for me, and we're more air quote in tune.
I didn't. I didn't say he didn't. I ain't say that.
Okay. I'm gonna become Noah in this segment of the episode. How say you, Mackenzie? What has Biden done for you?
I mean, don't put me on the spot. I don't have things to list. I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying he didn't do nothing. I'm sure
general competence is something that you can't necessarily measure in action, but like we were struggling under Trump, okay? Like
I'm sure he in some way was made sure my check came to me on time today. I'm sure he some way was trickling down in other things that we don't know about. I don't know, but I'm not gonna say he didn't do nothing for me. Like, I don't feel like that.
I'd like to hear your point here, Noah.
Because I work in politics, I know this, but job numbers are up. He has created a lot of jobs. I think he has actually managed the inflation thing pretty well, considering how bad it could have been. There could have been a war with Russia, and I would have been pressed to see what happened if Trump was in office when that was happening. I think he's handled that well. And I think it's his overall competence. I don't think that's something that you can like measure, but I think it's also like when Trump was president, it's so far from now, people just forget how hectic that shit was. And we haven't had one of those moments. Like take the last 2 years or 2.5 years and put Trump in office. Yikes. Like I can't imagine Russia invading Ukraine and Trump as president. That is some scary shit. But anywho. Moving on. Henry's speechless.
We can move on to the next topic.
Henry's like,
Kamala
fail.
What does her negative polling mean? Noah, you can take your job back.
So thank you. An NBC News survey published Monday found that Vice President Kamala Harris has a negative rating of -19, the lowest for a vice president since the poll was established. The poll revealed 49% of respondents have a disapproving view of her, as 32% favorable. At this point, because for context, Vice President Mike Pence was -4, Biden was +1, Dick Cheney was +23. Now that is probably largely just because of the whole 9/11 Iraq thing.
So -17 is kind of horrible.
That's really bad.
That's why I said that. I was like, oh, okay, that's racist. That's racist because that's ridiculous. Like that's ridiculously bad. now I'm like, oh my God, can you imagine receiving that news? Negative 17%.
At least her hair look good.
I would be sad though, like genuinely, like negative 17%.
We already know the fact that she's a woman and she's a Black woman at that.
Okay, you a Black man, negative 17%.
A Black man would have got a -5.
It's
Nah,
still
it
that's
been
still
like
higher
10.
than 17 though. 17 is bottom of the barrel. Like you're crazy.
Y'all always say it, the Black or what? I don't want to miss.
I mean, yes, I know that yes, obviously racism exists. She's a woman. Yes, but it's still
those things are playing a part here.
People are mean too.
It's playing a part, and this is, I think, like the evil side of me coming out. I don't think the administration has necessarily done her any favors as well. I think that's
We
part
just
of
said
it.
Biden didn't do nothing. So if a white old man, excuse me, I'm being frank here today. If a white old man didn't do nothing for you, and you got this Black woman that keeps a press curl in office, I'm gonna blame the Black woman more than I'm blaming. Let's just put two and two together.
Yeah. Sure. I also think that
Y'all
know
are
she's
so
like,
not
no.
realistic.
I can see that perspective. I understand that, and I also think that
For quick context, Biden's approval is -14.
There you go. Look.
So that's not, to me, that's
we
not
are
crazy.
Getting a Republican president.
That's within the margin of
we
error.
might as well start strapping up for war because
negative 14. I'm sorry, I just can't imagine it receiving that news.
Listen, we are getting
people hate y'all.
President, and it's about to get worse. It's already, we in hell. We about to be below there.
Y'all are lucky that Mackenzie is not our VP, because she would get that poll sheet and throw it away and be like, you know what, y'all do it.
I said
y'all
we need to disband
y'all
this
run it.
immediately.
Y'all run it.
If Mackenzie,
and then I'm gonna use my cybersecurity team to hack those computers, because I know it had to be white men, or like, because I just don't know who.
Pause.
Trump's is -16, by the way.
So what is this poll? Now this poll is a joke. Now the poll is a joke. Yeah, disband the poll. First thing.
No, it's different polls I'm looking at. I looked at like the most recent. The Trump and Biden ones were from the same like aggregate. The Harris one was on one specifically from Monday. I feel bad for her. I don't think she's like the most engaging.
She know we love her. We love you, Miss Harris. I watched that snippet of you and Keke Palmer talking about how you keep your press curl with the brush. That's so cute.
But I also think, I don't know. I will also say though, I do feel like, I know she's vice president and they don't really do much, but I do think her position as being like the first Black woman in this cabinet space or whatever, I think she should have been doing more, not necessarily Keke Palmer interviews, but more visible things, like just in our face doing stuff. I don't know if that would have changed the ratings, but I definitely feel like she's not
visible. She's not visible. And a part of it is because of her job, like where she largely, because the Senate is so close, she has to be in DC a lot to like break the tie. So it's super like, admin stuff. But to your point, she should be doing that kind of fun stuff too, like fight the press side, or like, hey, I'm going to go on the Tonight Show just because I'm the VP.
No, she does a lot of like press stuff for sure. I've never seen a vice president doing as much media as she has.
What else has she done since like Keke? I mean, what else?
Well, no, like I feel like I see an interview clip on my timeline from her very often, whether it's
who would she being interviewed by?
Just random people. It'd be random stuff.
Oh, well, I'm talking about the more like the Keke Palmers that's like, you know who both of these people are. It's not, oh, did you see that? Oh, you saw that? Like more just
visible, like just do stuff like Obama was doing. Yeah, like I don't know.
She's not Obama, sir.
But
I'm not saying that, but like, girl, you going outside, so something needs to change.
Okay, so when Pence was in office, what was he doing? What was the prior vice president doing?
I don't think they have a lot.
Okay, what was the other vice president doing?
Dick Cheney. What was Dick Cheney doing?
That you held these
what was Dick Cheney doing? Let's look into that.
He was causing a war.
So
again,
you want Kamala
stop
to start a war?
holding this black woman to a higher standard than you held these white men.
Wait, what? What'd you say?
I don't think that has anything to
None
do
of the
with
vice
that.
presidents don't be doing nothing.
Oh, so we're high. No, the only reason I'm holding her, and it's not really to a higher standard.
That's
I just
what it
look at it
sounds
like, dang,
White
I'm the
people-
first black girl in this. I want to be doing interviews.
show
I
out,
wanna be
do
on date
something.
night. I want to do this. Like that's just
So
how I'm
again,
thinking about
because
it.
she's a black woman, the
But
first.
that's the fun
You're-
stuff. Press is fun. No, I don't want to sit and read
Okay,
papers.
look, I'm gonna appease you real quick.
What like no, I don't want to sit in a Senate meeting. I'll do Jimmy
Mackenzie said
Kimmel's.
That's her job. That's
Mackenzie
literally
said-
her job, Mackenzie. Mackenzie, that's literally her job. So what?
And clearly, the preview to this conversation about the Supreme Court and all of the other chaos happening.
So y'all should be telling her to scream from the rooftops then, because she over there.
Sure, she would be able to scream from the rooftops in an interview.
Mackenzie said,
On
fuck
Jimmy
this
Kimmel.
job. I'm doing my cosmopolitan shoots. I'm out of here.
Why would I like no?
This
I
is
could scream and
ghetto.
shout on Jimmy Kimmel.
And y'all don't like me? Oh, I'm gonna get these fits off now.
No, seriously. And you know what? Y'all laughing, but
Well, her press suit, her little suit.
But I will say, at work, we worked on this show, Jay Leno's Garage, and two presidents, former President George W. Bush was on there, and sitting President Biden was on the show. And he wanted to purposely have like an electric vehicle to go with his whole, oh, I guess it wasn't a sitting president because that would have been recently.
You mean sitting?
It was recently. No, it was recently. It was like last year. But my point is stuff like that is also pushing an agenda because he made sure that the vehicle he drove was an electric vehicle,
which
to
fits
tie
the
into
narrative.
his campaign.
Okay, this
and
is
it
what I'm about
reaches
to catch
millions
y'all
of
y'all
people.
doing hypocrisy y'all be doing.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying
Look,
that's
wait,
a way.
look. Just let me get my point now. Y'all said Biden is like a hold on, bruh, chill, don't do too much type of guy, right? I got something coming. It's the first day we heard about the affirmative action, right? So why don't you have hope that he would scream from the rooftops and yell, add or cut more seats from the Supreme Court to set these limitations, whatever? Why don't you think that he has that up his sleeve?
If he didn't do it after Roe, he ain't doing it now.
Because my thing is, it's also concerning to me though, for real, if this is the final straw, because your final straw should have been like long time ago. So that would also be concerning, unless you want to play with my strategic point of him trying to hold out for the student loans. And then if that doesn't work out, then he starts screaming and shouting, because now I'm like really irritated.
I mean, that is his last play though, if we want to be realistic across the board, because what else would they shut down, or what else is at what do we know?
I'm scared to know. Oh, you know,
no,
LGBTQ
it's gay rights, it's people who have transitioned. Yeah, it's all that.
Yeah.
It's literally all that. They can like come out and say like doctors have like the ability to like deny you care or some shit like that. It's gonna get really weird.
I'm not gonna lie, if we were taking bets, I definitely like, I know I say interracial marriages, but I definitely think
that's definitely make it now.
Gay rights would definitely before.
No, gay rights is next. Gay rights.
That's definitely on that list, boy.
No, they're gonna. The concern is that they're gonna say like, you know, in certain states, states can now, they're gonna take the same opinion with Roe. States can now decide what's constitutes marriage. So in it's just gonna be a free for all. But
affirmative action, it's just interesting, the rankings.
And then religious rights, voting is still at play.
Affirmative action, man, we got to get these people out of these schools immediately. Like instantly get rid of these people out of these schools.
I don't think that's how that's gonna work.
I mean,
I think it's a coming process. Like, let's say,
no,
you know, the new appointed director of admissions has a certain agenda. You think it's gonna be that swift?
I
they're
think
just
because
gonna.
recently in New York City, I think it's one of these tech schools. And last year the New York Times presented that they only admitted like one Black kid in the entire school. This was when affirmative action is the thing. And it's a really hard school to get. So it already happens at school. You look at some of these elite private schools, they already don't accept Black kids. So yeah, I do think to your point though, it does really depend on the admission director for sure, 100%. But like if everything is holding in one person's hands, then
But then because then that even trickles down, because then it's a matter of who's going to recommend people to go to admissions. It's like that all trickles. If people are not being told that that's a priority to find diverse talent, they're not going to do it, because people only it's networking. People are going to reach out to people who look like them.
I think that's the longer term effects though, because like if we don't have to abide by these certain rules or policies or whatever, and there's nobody checking me on it, I'm gonna do what I want to do and set my own prerogative, and I'm gonna operate with as people, we go to what's comfortable with us, to us. So naturally, if you're in a corporate space, you already know where my people at? You know what I'm saying? So it's the same game. And unfortunately, we have to play and exist in that game. And that's I think when we talk about affirmative action and how this is going to limit access to wealth on so many levels, because for us, Black people, education is our way to get that step ahead. Unless you
dribbling a ball or rapping a lyric, literally.
I didn't want to say it like that, but
that's real.
That's real. We are working individuals and we have to get jobs. And the only way, less access equals less opportunity equals less money equals less ability to move up in the world. It's that simple.
It's
that simple. And then I cannot wait until Harvard. I can't wait until Harvard puts out like a study next year saying
diversity report.
The wealth gap, trying to say like, wow, can't believe the wealth gap is like this. Well,
does
it really be?
Let's think about all of these institutions that are mostly affected by these policies. What the Ivy Leagues, especially, how were they founded and who built them institutions? Because a lot of them were built by who were not allowed into those institutions.
Oh yeah, I mean that's my whole point at the beginning. Like I'm not shading people who go to PWIs. Like I understand you get money or you just want to go do whatever. You do what you have to do. But there is also that thing of like this institution wasn't made for you, and then now they kind of doubling down like, yeah, this ain't really made for you, and you still want to go. It's just kind of like,
you know what's interesting though, the whole if we want to, let's say how these bigger institutions benefit off of Black bodies, I wonder how it's going to play into sports.
Will have no effect.
What do you mean?
They recruit mostly Black, I would say, athletes at a lot of these. Let's say UNC, for instance, their basketball team, it's a decent amount of Black players on that team.
They'll make exceptions. They always do.
Oh, sports doesn't count though. But that's why I also
they'll make exceptions.
Dribbling a ball and rapping a lyric, because it's like when we can profit off of you, it's different. We'll make it.
Come through. Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, come through. But
I was saying, you know how the driving for a lot of the Black athletes or whatever in recent years have been air quote pressured to go to these HBCUs to bring in more revenue, bring in more money. I would wonder, as an athlete at this time choosing schools with these rulings, how would that mentally?
The money's too different. The money's not the same.
Yeah, I mean, I was honestly,
somebody will do it eventually, but it's just not now. It's not going to happen now.
No, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a sports girl. I don't know how outrageous this would have sounded, but I was hoping maybe Bronny would have done that. Only be for real. Hold on. I only say people like Bronny because people like him would make it to the NBA regardless.
They'd be fine.
He has nothing to lose. He has nothing to lose.
Great point. Great point.
But since
But
did it, then I'm just kind of like, well, yeah. No.
And
when
the
we
funny
talk
thing-
about black conservatives, when we talk about black men, look who LeBron not a.
I'm not gonna go on that tip, but I think
No,
even
I think
yeah,
LeBron is.
That
I
nigga
think-
show face. Excuse my frankness.
Don't be rude. Don't be rude. He has
I'm
that
just
school.
saying,
Didn't he open a school?
Look who he
Akron?
hang out with. All of his friends are on that edge of. He really down for the folks.
I mean,
agree.
he paid
Michael
for his
Jordan,
friends.
okay.
No, Michael Jordan is not. I think that's
Yeah, but I don't
yeah.
think that about LeBron.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't either.
Look, don't sue me, brother. I respect you as a black man and the representation you play.
God.
Not speaking against you. I love what you do for the community. Keep doing it. However, I think what his tax codes would say, would be my question.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
Like
That doesn't have, what does that have to do with anything?
That's how they vote. How is my money?
You realize he realize he did it. You realize he did an event with Biden.
Yeah. Oh, but you're trying to say so he still went behind the booth. I mean, you don't know what happens behind
Bro,
the booth.
that's literally all I'm
for
saying. Diddy
I don't
was
see that.
black. Okay. Now y'all really about to get me in my like, oh, he's a hold up, whatever it's called.
What have
But
you seen? Because I'm like, I don't
no,
know.
Diddy is always a pro-black person, right?
Yeah.
Guarantee that man.
But Diddy is not LeBron. Let's we gotta pick one person.
They're
Diddy,
not the same person.
No, totally different.
Okay.
Diddy,
I guess
can't say,
I viewed that certain class of black.
I don't think he voted for
elitism.
Hillary. I definitely don't see Diddy voting for Hillary. So, but I actually do see LeBron voting for Hillary.
Yeah, he's had too many actions that actually require some type of financial commitment that would signify. Like,
maybe I'm misspeaking.
You just don't like him.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
You're making stuff up now.
I did not say that. I follow him on Instagram. I watch Space Jam and House Party. He produced both of those movies.
oh, not House Party.
F with
Sorry,
LeBron.
that's why you don't like him.
Like I said, you hate him. You hate him. You didn't talk about his basketball ring. You didn't talk. You talk about Space Jam.
I don't
and
care
that
about
other
none of that
terrible
stuff.
movie.
That's
Both
the
of those
okay.
movies were
That's the
trash.
okay. I might have been a little stereotypical there. I'll admit. However, for me, I don't pay attention to them that much outside of like just the stuff that I'm interested in. I'm a media guy. I'm a creative. I don't watch the basketball or, whatever. So I'm not really paying attention to that. So if it's not pinging, I'm gonna be, so I can admit I was a little stereotypical there.
We love a pivot. Moving on. I don't even know. I guess we can
caveat to other black news, you guys.
Yeah, we can fire through these because Henry, I just put BET Awards. What happened? What has it become? Comma, LOL. It was a lot.
Did y'all watch my TikTok recap?
Yo, you seemed over it by the second minute.
I heard it was so trash, like so bad. I didn't even.
It was bad.
Everyone said it was
ratings
so bad.
from last year, according to Yahoo, with 2.8 million viewers. What?
So 2.8 million people watched it, which is an increase upon last year. So it's like it was worse. The awards
that's
worse,
good.
But more people watched it. It was really bad. It
okay,
was
so this is my thing. BET is black owned now, apparently.
Not officially.
Allegedly.
Like we don't know what's going on, right?
Until you hear it from Tyler Perry's mouth directly, it has not happened.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Because he definitely would do a full rollout.
Would that help the award show? What would Tyler Perry do at the award show? Medea at the BET?
At least Medea would have hosted. I heard there was no host.
I mean,
it was chaos.
Writer strike.
No, it was okay.
The writer strike, but no, because the Tonys had a host. They just were improving the whole time.
I'm not going to say the Tonys are a little bit more buttoned up than the BET Awards, but that makes me sound bad.
That's the problem. We always be just taking the crumbs from them.
You're talking about this BET is still owned by Paramount apparently, so it ain't y'all. It's them giving us the crumbs and us doing what we can do with them. So don't even do that.
With the utmost respect, utmost respect, we need to take some accountability here. It is definitely y'all, not Paramount. BET has been fumbling. I feel like BET's awards been going downhill even before Paramount even bought them.
Well, let's
I
just
mean-
no. Okay, if we realistically talk about BET Awards, conglomerate networks, whatever, they probably stopped investing into BET because it wasn't garnishing as much revenue, and then slowly programming became lost, investment became lost. But the one thing that could champion is the BET Awards. I think Deborah Lee or whomever her name was, who is the president, spoke something toward that. Nonetheless, I do feel like if they were to speak to a creative strategist as myself, we could get this programming on track. You hear me? Nonetheless, Brittany, boy,
Did
pause.
you
Time.
just shoot your shot at BET right
Yes, I did. You
Okay.
gotta know how to move. But for real, I think the BET Awards this year, it was a bit lackluster and unorganized. It was like they threw something together, and for this to be like a monumental celebration for 50 years of hip hop, it was not giving what it was supposed to be gave, as the young kids would say. I think again, they definitely need to speak to someone or something with a plan as to how to amp the network up. Because
I think
Black
it's a
people media, I think at this time it's a like we're there, but the ownership is a big, huge gap. And then when it comes to programming, we have all complained about, oh, I'm tired of these remakes. So when we talk about like original programming, giving Black creators, writers, hell, they definitely shouted out the Writers Guild protests a few times throughout the awards, but we need to figure out how to get those opportunities created in spaces that would give us proper representation. And we hope BET is that space, but it hasn't been. So I think that's the unfortunate, sad part about it, because we put so much hope into what it could be, and what it is two different things. But I definitely think like revenue has played a part into what programming we've had or haven't had. Because like, again, if we think about the 2000s and the late 90s when Black media was in its prime to some degree, to where film and television shows and like our representation was really there, BET had the programming. And
They
then
chose to get rid of 106 in Park long time ago.
again, why?
There was no reason. I really don't feel like there was a reason.
People stop putting out good videos, Mackenzie. Let's be real,
That's
like,
that's not true. And 106 in Park was so much more than music videos. Like, and that is not true. People still be putting out good music videos. Like, that is not the case. And plus, they would only play like the first minute and a half of the video. You wasn't just there to
75
watch
seconds.
the video. But my point is, yes, we create these spaces, but I just feel like I don't know what it is, because it's not really money. Because they got rid of,
it's not money.
Hold on. They got rid of 106 in Park. Then they randomly got rid of like Monique's late night show. There was somebody else. They had like a BET News. They randomly got rid of that. Then I saw them hiring for BET News again. It just seems like chaos. I don't think it's really just a money issue. I think it's like, well, to your point, I think it's the leadership and ownership.
I think they haven't adjusted well to kind of this growing new digital age. I think they were just slow, and I think they made the wrong decisions at the wrong time. Like they cut stuff too quick, and then they like just would do other stuff and not give it a chance to breathe. As someone who watched either the performances, I actually kind of feel bad for BET. I don't know what you could do with the people who were performing. I don't know how you could squeeze. I just don't know. I think there's a larger issue where it's like, I think BET, honestly, the more I think about it, they just took the people who were popular, and the people who are popular just don't have that same oomph that the people we grew up watching had. Like, I mean, I remember when the BET Awards was like an event with your family, like you sat down and watched it together, and it was like, all right, Beyonce is going to come up, and this person is going to come up, and
that
all
would then
these
go into like the celebration, how Black people value that award show, because
I think it's right. I think it's twofold.
One best rapper of the year, something like that. she was like, "Oh my God, I wanted this." Like, took her shoes up, like super excited. Here y'all fools come on Twitter. It's not an Oscar. This shit, like, they're not gonna nominate her for a damn Grammy or Oscar.
I mean, I think that's. I mean, I think a part of the problem is that like the A-listers don't show up anymore. It used to be a thing where Denzel would be in the front
But
row,
you don't
Beyonce
think
would be in
all
the
of
front
those
row.
things play into
I do. I
funding
think it does.
you
Or I
you
think
pay people to go to award shows? I don't think so.
not paying
No.
people to go, but
it has an
Mackenzie,
effect on the. It
why
has a
are we
downstream
all
effect on the
so?
product. There's a downstream effect on the
There you
product where I
go.
think
There you go.
if
But what would funding do with getting A-list celebrities?
I don't think funding has to do anything with it. I think it's just people don't see the benefit of going anymore, which is sad. I think people like Beyonce, Nicki Minaj, they all should be there because I think that would actually help. And it also goes to the point of like, you know, who's really carrying your water? It's not the people at the Oscars who snub you every fucking time. It's us. We're the ones who are actually buying your tickets. We're the ones who are amping you up. You ain't gonna get no love over there, but I bet Beyonce's gonna be right back at the Grammys next year, and they probably ain't gonna give her nothing. So I think it's like it used to be like Sidney Poitier, Jay-Z, Beyonce, or like all these like who's who, and you look at the front row, it's not like that anymore. So I actually do feel like they're in a tough spot where it's like what this was, those people just don't want to come. And BET plays a part in that, but also BET's probably saying, yeah, all we can get is Glorilla because all these other people don't want to go. Ari Lennox ain't even here. So like, what's up?
You're
Like,
gonna get the Black artists in their first year or their come up year, and then after that, once they made it, went mainstream.
I also just feel like people can't perform like they used to, so it looks worse now. Like,
I think it's a branding issue. I think it needs to just be a rebrand of like, this is the upscale thing. Cause like, I hear what y'all are saying, but don't invite me to some mess. Like if you,
I would agree.
I
would totally
and
agree.
y'all say that it
totally
was so
agree.
bad. Like, I don't want to go. Like, I don't, I'm sorry. And I just feel like if that's what it is, BET needs to put on a better show. Like, and it comes to a point of like that's where you need to get your PR team. Hey guys, like I know, you know, last year's might have been crazy, but we're doing something super special, like really coaxing these A-list celebrities that y'all need to come here.
It's different.
This is going to be a great show you don't want to miss.
So basically, BET, this is us shooting our shot. We have a strategy. We have a plan. We have ideas. We are ready. Long as
we are not cheap.
That's what I was about to say.
And they said, well, we'll pay you for 4 weeks. Figure it out.
I'll take a 4-week thing. I'll take a 4
Yeah, we can do a month. We can do a trial period because I know what my success look like.
Yeah,
we can speak on it, but this is us shooting our shot.
They just they need to
move it along here to our heads up section where we give you the fun, the gives, and the gaps.
Boom. So quick heads up, Yusuf Salam, who is a member of what we now call the Exonerated Five, originally the Central Park Five, won the Harlem Democratic primary to serve on the New York City Council. If you were unaware, at 15, Salam was convicted of a crime he did not commit and served 7 years in prison. He has certainly been doing the rounds. He's always kind of presented himself as kind of the more politically aware, astute of the five, which is great. So I think props to him for doing that and representing Harlem. That's going to be great. And for those who do not know, this is our season finale. You might be asking what that is. We essentially are going to take a little 2-month break so we can all have our individual fun and come back refreshed. Vacations, TV show, movie recommendations. Henry, do you want to start before we sign off here?
It's always me. I'm currently in Chicago at the moment. This is my first time being here. Very segregated Black city from what I've seen.
I love Chicago, but yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's a beautiful city. Love Chicago.
This smoke is kind of crazy. I may make a pivot to DC in New York here soon, and then back home to ATL to see Beyonce in August. So yeah, that's like the summer tour.
Any TV shows or movies you recommend the people watching?
I'm trying to go see the new Transformers. I heard it was good.
Oh yeah, I love Transformers.
Mackenzie?
Well, as you guys know, I am going to Spice Mass in Grenada in August. So I'm excited for that. That's really the only vacation I'm going on this year, other than like weekend trips or whatever. Shows I'm watching The Bear on Hulu and
Oh,
Cruel
love it.
Summer. Yes, The
What is
Bear is
that?
good. Cruel
Wait,
Summer
what?
is really good too. What'd you say?
What is the bear?
The
The
Bear is
chef
about the chef.
show
And he's in
injected into my
Chicago,
veins.
actually.
Great show.
Yeah. So yeah, those are my recommendations. And Cruel Summer, please check it out. It's so good.
I have not watched that, and I will do that. For me, not too much. Eventually probably gonna go to Houston in August for a couple days. But other than that, keeping it kind of here, landlocked. I feel like all the vacation budget has gone to like actually getting furniture in this apartment that I live in, and that's not cheap. TV shows, The Bear for sure. Movies, I can't stress this enough. Everybody go see The Blackening. I loved it. I thought it was really, really funny. And you could tell that it was actually written by Black people, which I can actually appreciate. Like the jokes, like a white person wouldn't get them unless they were like really, really in the know. So it wasn't like one of those like, oh, it's Black people, but like it's written by white people. It was like for us, by us. So I would
Wait,
encourage
what?
The
The
Blackening, like the Black horror film.
Oh, I see. I heard about that.
It's really funny. And like I was nervous going into it, but like I left there like that shit was hilarious. So I would encourage everyone to see that. So that's for us. And then I guess for our summer podcast plans, be sure to keep checking the feed. We're going to have some creative stuff. We're going to do a bunch of different things. I might do some things on music. Henry might react to some stuff in real time. Mackenzie might put on her Bravo TV hat and react to some Real Housewives shows live, because why not? So keep posted. The Twitter is still going to be active. The YouTube is still going to be active. So until September, after Labor Day, be sure to follow us on all of our social media. That includes Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at WRGO Pod. Be sure to like, subscribe, listen, and comment on all of our streaming platforms. That especially includes YouTube, where we will be going up all summer. And that also includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, and iHeartRadio. Thank you.